Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to Mrs. K's library. Today I have a book that's in English and in Spanish, but I'm going to be reading the English version. If you want to pause the pages and read it in Spanish, because you can, please do. This really I should have read for Groundhog's Day, but because I didn't know we even had it, I'm reading it now, and happy Groundhog's Day, everyone, if you're reading it on Groundhog's Day. Mr. Groundhog Wants the Day Off, written by Pat Stemper Vojta. Cool name, right? All right, let's get started. This is a 2.6 accelerated reading level story. I will not do Groundhog Day anymore, said Mr. Groundhog. I am tired of everyone getting mad at me. They see my shadow and blame me for 6 more weeks of winter. I quit. Oh, look at him. He's looking over the valley. Mr. Groundhog stood next to his hole in the ground where he lived in the park. Everyone would wait there to see him on Groundhog's Day. He jogged around the park to help him think. He stopped fast when he saw he was nose to nose with Mrs. Rabbit. Oh, hello, Mrs. Rabbit, said Mr. Groundhog. Mrs. Rabbit smiled. Will you do Groundhog Day for me this year? Asked Mr. Groundhog. I'm sorry, I can't. I am much too busy getting ready for Easter. I have eggs to color and I must practice the bunny hop to lead the parade. But I have something for you. Mrs. Rabbit lifted the lid on a trunk. She pulled out a vest. This was my grandfather's special occasion vest. He would look very nice wearing this on Groundhog Day. Thank you, said Mr. Groundhog. He slipped the vest on and continued his walk. Then he met Mr. Turtle. Hey, Mr. Turtle, would you mind doing Groundhog Day for me? Asked Mr. Groundhog. All you have to do is come out of the green and greet the crowd of people. I would, but I can't fit into this small opening of your home. My shell would get stuck, explained Mr. Turtle. But I have something for you. There's such a glare on the pages today. Sorry, guys. Mr. Groundhog followed Mr. Turtle to a cluster of bushes. Mr. Turtle reached in and lifted out a hat. This is my holiday hat. I want you to wear it on Groundhog's Day, said Mr. Turtle. Thank you, Mr. Groundhog said as he put on the hat. Next he saw Mrs. Squirrel. Mrs. Squirrel, will you do Groundhog Day for me? I'm really sorry, but I would be too afraid to go down into the dark hole to get to your home. But I have something for you, said Mrs. Squirrel. Wow, they're all so kind. She reached up and broke some branches off of a tree. You can use these for a cane. You will look nice with your vest and hat. Thank you, said Mr. Groundhog as he hooked the branch around his arm. Mr. Groundhog walked back home. He met Mr. Raccoon. Mr. Groundhog, you look very handsome. I have something for you, said Mrs. Raccoon. She took a piece of ribbon off of her head and tied it around Mr. Groundhog's neck. Oh. Thank you, said Mr. Groundhog. The next morning, sunlight woke the sleeping groundhog. Mr. Groundhog got up and hurried into his outfit. With all his courage, he reached up and somersaulted out of his hole. He saw his shadow somersault along with him. Then Mr. Groundhog tipped his hat to the crowd. His shadow tipped its hat too. The band began to play. Mr. Groundhog reached out his arm and began to dance. His shadow danced too. Mr. Turtle looked at the ground and saw that he had a shadow. He began to dance. His shadow danced too. Mr. Squirrel joined in. Soon everyone was dancing. "I never knew how much fun a shadow could be," said Mrs. Squirrel. "I'm looking forward to next Groundhog's Day." Mr. Groundhog was happy. He smiled at his shadow and said, "Thank you, my friend. I'll see you again the next sunny day." The end. That was a fun way to do it. Dance with your shadow.